just came in. Jimmy is, he was an EC for his precinct. He moved, so he's no longer the EC for his old precinct. But Jimmy, which precinct do you live in now?
I now live in Leawood.
Jimmy lives in the Leawood precinct. But Jimmy, you know, we've heard people talk about with the reorg fraud last time, some churches being involved. I mentioned earlier on the call that I got to unsubscribe because we on a lot of, there's 423 harvested ballots or harvested Form 1s. On the back is where they wrote their contact information. So we had Gwen go through all of those and copy up all the emails. We added them to our Greenville GOP email list, and we started sending them emails here recently. Ellen Weaver's uncle, who was voting for his parents, Ellen Weaver's grandparents, who lives out of state, it was his email was on there. We got a pretty nasty gram back from him. But there were a couple churches that were involved. Today, we got an unsubscribe from Morningside Church, which is Adam Morgan's head pastor at Adam Morgan's church. But Jimmy was actually at one of the meetings for his church. But I just want him to tell y'all kind of what happened with the reorg harvested ballots, just so we have this. If you want to, Jimmy.
Hi, guys. I was the EC for District 29, and when I moved out, I now live in Leawood, so I'm not serving in any capacity. A couple of years ago, when the reorg was going on, our pastor had come forward and said, is there anybody who wants to get involved with any of the election process concerning the reorganization within the county and state officials and all that? And I had made it a point to try to attend the meeting. Unfortunately, I walked in the middle of it, and our pastor was holding up the Form 1, and he was explaining how all you have to do is fill out your name and your email address on the back. Now, having been the previous EC of 29, my first comment was, Pastor, that's not true. We just had the elections last Tuesday for officials. You had to bring in your money to be a county delegate, and you had to pay at the same time money for a state delegate, and everything had to be signed on the front. And he said, Jim, I'm sorry, but I got this from the people at the top. And I looked at him and I said, Pastor, you might be unaware, I'm an elected official right now. This is just not true. You had to pay that money up front, and it had to be signed by somebody there that it received, and that you had to submit it that night. Who's telling you that you're able to do this without giving any money, and to do this in a way where you're not filling out all the full information? And he kind of froze, because I guess I'd never told anybody that I was the EC of the district, because nobody in the church lived there. So I didn't inform anyone of that. Well, I did some calling with Jeff, and I told him what was going on. And he explained just what the shenanigans were that were happening. And I yesterday had a conference with my pastor about something unrelated. And I had asked him, right now, because of what happened, you were lied to, and our church was lied to because of that, because you repeated that lie to them. So they used us. However, right now, I'm considering getting involved again in my district. Would you like to have invitations for people to go to any training sessions? And he said, right now, Jim, I really got stung on that one, and our church is staying out of this. And I looked at him and I said, you're right. Nate Loop and Drew McKissick are snakes. And what they did was they lied to you. They used our church, and they used our church people, and they specifically lied to you.
Thank you, Jimmy. That's powerful. Yes. Jimmy's a Marine, and Jimmy stands for truth, and go Jimmy. and it's not the Jimmy from Seinfeld in those special shoes.